Alright everyone, it's time for the Occult, video 204 on Libertine life. This is spurred on partially by editing the Sufi work, Mystics of Islam, by the way, very good work available on my books blogs, as one of the first comprehensive works that I've encountered on Sufism, and I found it funny because part of it, one of the whole sections, is mostly about hedonism. It's about the idea that because of the Sufi tradition, the mystic tradition being as it is, stressing, hey, God is present even if you're in hell, don't worry too much about it. It's a total giving up of self. It's basically 100% ascetic, but it also spawned hedonistic groups because if you believe that even if you go to hell, it doesn't ultimately even matter because you're like, hey, I'm still one with this deity through my mystic practices. Essentially, I'm inseparable from the whole, which includes God. I don't care if I'm being licked by flames. I can literally get used to that and enjoy it in very quick time because crucify the flesh, who cares about it? It led in some cases to asceticism. That is, that people would be like, well, I can be impoverished, my suffering doesn't matter. I can be beaten, my beatings don't matter. I can be killed, it doesn't matter if I die, nothing matters, so I'm going to give up everything in life. No sex, no drugs, no alcohol, basically bare bones diet just to exist. The other flip side, though, is that it spawned hedonistic movements. That is, movements that were given over towards a libertine lifestyle in which it's like, well, if it doesn't matter if I suffer, it also doesn't matter if I don't suffer. So I should prefer that. I might as well enjoy my time in the physical body because my enjoyment or my suffering is irrelevant. So yeah, I can sin all I want. I can't be cut off from that Godhead. I'm keeping that in mind from Allah, in their case, and it doesn't matter. There are other variants of the occult that have done the same. Within most modern occult traditions, there's an element of hedonism, an element of a libertine lifestyle. Now, sometimes it's tempered. For example, within Satanism, which is not an occult school, but it does a mock-up of devil worship. Within atheistic Satanism, we're talking within the framework of Anton LaVey's sort of diaspora, the diaspora of the original Church of Satan from the 60s. Within that, there's definitely hedonism. It's basically enjoy life, do as you wish. This is it. Earth is it. It's atheistic. There is no hell to worry about. Do what you want. But don't harm others in the process. You don't harm children. You don't sacrifice animals. You don't rape people, you don't invade their space and try to steal things from them. Although it does contain an interesting aside that if a person is very wealthy, then they're basically screaming to be relieved of something, then it's kind of okay. It's different from stealing a loaf of bread from a poor man, in other words. That makes sense. A little bit of a leftist aside maybe there. I think Anton LaVey might have been having some fun with that one. But generally speaking, it's hedonism. But it's a tempered hedonism because it acknowledges other people's individuality and the essence of their need to be able to engage in the same behavior. So two people can be hedonistic, but when they start stealing one another's drugs, one of them probably ends up dead. So then that person is no longer able to exercise their individual autonomy, their libertine lifestyle. So people have to have some boundaries of respect. And the general aside would be, well, there are always going to be people left out. There won't be enough for everyone to live the exact lifestyle they want. True, which is why it's tempered in that path. Being non-occult, technically speaking, as it is. There are other groups as well that do the same thing. Within the sort of fictional framework, typically occult orders are seen as negative, and they are seen as hedonistic. They're seen as either out of control, rapacious in nature, especially with regards to sex or money, greed, indulgence in wealth for wealth's sake. Or they may be seen as an ascetic group that's simply butcherous. That is, that their particular hedonism is they want to kill everyone. Like you think of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. What's the actual ultimate purpose of this group worshipping Kali Ma? Not exactly clear. They just seem to want to enslave and destroy and force others to drink blood and do crazy shit. It's sort of a mock-up. Again, fictional, technically satirical, although it is based rather loosely on the authentic Thuggee cult. They were more likely to choke you to death in a traveling caravan at night and steal your shit than they were to actually drink your blood, but that's a little bit of Hollywood there. I would say, in my own practice, and I've spoken of this. I'm more Epicurean in nature. That is, I believe in pleasure for pleasure's sake. I believe pleasure is a high good, but I temper it more because I look at it as within the existential framework of the life we live, because of scarcity, because of competition. It's better to simply learn to enjoy simple things. It doesn't cost much to enjoy sunshine on your shoulders, in other words. To enjoy, growing some flowers or something like that. Simple pursuits like that are fulfilling even while it is joy for your own sake. It is selfish, technically speaking, but it's easy to achieve, number one, and it's positive, number two. It's not destructive. The flip side of that, the hedonistic side, would be like sports cars and golden thrones of wasteful things that can also be depleting towards other people. Even if you are only, for instance, Satanism fails to address, or at least has so far, I believe, has failed to address what if you want the new iPhone and it's made by child slaves over in China. By contributing to that juggernaut sort of consumerism, are you then therefore violating one of the satanic commandments, which is not to harm children? You're imposing upon another person in the general sense by your actions. But if it's more Epicurean, if you're like, hey, what do I enjoy in life? Nah, I have my chamomile tea. I grew asparagus or something. Of course you can do that. It's not harming anyone. In fact, it adds to your life and to your health. It's wholesome in the literal sense. It can even help others. You could say, well, I like growing food. I don't eat it all, so I give it to the local food kitchen. I just enjoy doing that. It's charitable. It's a good thing to do. It's not hedonistic. So there's a difference between sort of that libertine life that is spoken of in some occult frameworks or sub-schools. Usually it's not the entire practice, like certain tantric groups. Like, yeah, sometimes just have an orgy or whatever. It doesn't really matter ultimately. You have to show that you can still do that. Within certain neo-pagan paths, they would literally have orgies and stuff. It's usually within a semi-structured context that involves consent. And it's not done all the time, because then you poison yourself, you destroy your life. That's about all. Peace out.